Aerodynamic, mate.
Absolutely. Cozzolino, the 31-year-old Italian passported Cape Verdean, against Pedro Matos, 26, but has been on the tour for 10 years. And kite surfing for much more, comes from that surfing background. And Matos in the white, getting a wave in early, getting a score in early, getting those cobwebs blown away. And I'm sure Cozzolino is doing the same thing.
You know what they say, you got to break those eggs if you want to make an omelette. And I tell you what, it is scrambling out here. The crowd is going wild. We will see the first section of this wave from Airton, but he is throwing it into the air, and the crowd is loving it. Coming close, there you go. Baruya, 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 Cape Verde. And the official results coming in, of course. And it was Gabriel Benetton with a 17.20 versus Sebastian Ribeiro with a 16.01. So Gabriel, third place. Sebastian Ribeiro, fourth. Congratulations. But now, eyes on the water. Your top two contenders. Who is going to take it?
Oh.
I mean, could he get any busier?
Nice little bit of air in the middle of that. There was no sort of setup to it, was it? It was simply just part of the act. And that's going to be a big score, surely, to kick off this final. Matos went and did a safety run, but Cozzolino was all out.
I mean, we saw that in the first heats. He was getting 9s on those first rides. Then in that last heat, he kind of has a fumble, and you heard on the interview, he just didn't quite feel there. But then, you know, fortunately, was able to shake that one off and start to produce the goods. But yeah, definitely Airton. He has one goal and one goal only, and it is to get that crowd that you can see here on your screen up and into the air. Matos dropping in. First opening, cunning turn. Linking it straight into a second. Moving down the line, getting past the foam ball. Boom! Making sure he keeps the speed as that wave is starting to close out as we get further down the line. And this one just flattening out on the shoulder for them as well. But just trying to get a couple of safety runs. 8:33 Cozzolino, 7:73 for Matos. Here comes Airton. They aren't going to let us breathe.
Second wave for both of our competitors. 8:33 for the first one. Lots and lots of space to improve then for both of our competitors. Judges seeing that this is the final and making sure there's room to grow. And Cozzolino needing and wanting and asking that audience for support.
That Cape Verdean flag is flying up high, and you can hear the drums. Airton making sure that they can feel that as they are getting ready to go. Every single time he's in, you can hear that roar. Your Gong athletes with Cape Verde in his heart at the moment, definitely in the driver's seat. 7:73 for Pedro, 8:33 for Airton, waiting for the scores on those last two waves. And it has not even been 5 minutes in this final. Top two waves counts, 10 wave count, and they are going to use every single one of them.
The wind blowing so strong on the beach here. That's definitely getting stronger than we had in the early part of the day. Waiting on those second scores. Still got 20 minutes, however, and they come in and they're very similar again. 7:63 to Cozzolino, 7:13 for Matos. It means Cozzolino is about a point ahead right now. But I tell you what, we know these two titans of the sport will lay everything on the line. And no doubt we're going to see those scores improve.
And there you can see them both going out to the back as they get ready to follow in the swell. And when it hits Punta Preta, the beast will start to roar. So far, it is Cozzolino in the lead with just a little bit over a point. But that is nothing of a difference in between these two athletes. They have had 8s and 9s all day long. So both of them know what's up for grab. Cozzolino winner here last year. Pedro Matos looking for his second ever career event win. And he is in a final once again. Was up against James Carew in Dakar final last year, but getting second position. He wants a taste of that top spot at the podium. but he has a very on fire and teeth out Cape Verdean with his crowd behind him, who has a lot to say about that, leading the pack so far with 20 minutes to go. There you can see the judges. Oh, you can cut the tension in there. You can just cut it. Look, concentration 101 as our panel of 5 judges. Now, Matos dropping in. Here we go.
Big set wave for Pedro Matos here. Where is he? In the swell. Only the drone can see. And now he pops out. Great positioning. Wave is not particularly large, but 2 of those beautiful turns mid-air and landing at the bottom. Now he's more connected to the wave. It sounds as though Airton is responding as well.
Yeah, Pedro all the way down. Let's keep following him. Then we will get that wave from Cozzolino. Pedro letting the tail loose as it is getting hot out here. You can hear the vibes down on the beach, and he's happy. This is the end of the wave from Cozzolino. Here we can see the flag is flying high, but let's see the replay of the top end of that beauty. And made the noise get higher and higher down here at the beach. Here we go. Just check turn, coming in, not the biggest set wave, but keeping it busy. Gets a little bit of a tuck up, managing to come out, and now flies past that section, kite high, and really having to dive it to be able to continue on this one and pulling through the fins and not really opening up until the end section, this wave.
See what the judges think of that. Lots of work done right to the very end of the wave. Tried to get that barrel. We saw the judges earlier on in the day appreciate the barrel, but not score it massively. We've seen it on its own without any other turns in its own entity as a scored wave.
Oh, look at it. Here it is. You can already hear the drums. You can already hear the vibe. There is going to be an explosion on the beach if Airton Cozzolino takes that first place. But it is going to be a battle as Pedro Matos wants to taste the crown of Punta Preta. 773, 733. All right, Cozzolino dropping in. Here we go. Going in behind the haze. Oh, big hack, letting that tail loose right on the lip, airdropping his way down. Now he's going to open up this section. This is where he comes in front of his crowd, and they will start to go wild. Gets an air, perfect landing, and dodging the rocks. Cozzolino. He is dangerous, and there it is. Someone is amped, and someone is motivated.
8.43, 8.33 already for Cozzolino on the board. Matos has been in the water. He's got an 8.1 on the board, but both his scores less than Cozzolino. Some of the young wing foilers down here on the water as well. Watching on the big show, the big final. And I tell you what, these boys absolutely laying it down. Still waiting on that last wave score. We saw Matos was in the water. This perhaps is the replay of what happened to Pedro. Here it is. And it looked as though from this angle that the wave he chose was bigger. A little bit lazy on that particular turn. He can be more aggressive than that. That was better. And then it's slightly died off. Ooh, just getting caught out as it closed down in front of him.
Getting a little Cape Verdean slap there.
And neither score has improved their main score on those last 2 waves. The crowd loved it. The crowd loved it, but do not be fooled by what the crowd are cheering for. It's what those men up in the judging tower decide.
All right, so let's have a look at the scores one more time. 797 for that last wave from Airton, not going to improve. A 767 for Pedro, also not going to improve. So we keep on with the scores. 15 minutes to go. And I can hear that bass and that Cape Verdean music suddenly starting to get louder and louder. And by the time we get to the closing moments of this heat, it is gonna be pumping down here. As the final day, the final heat of the first event of the season. Your Cape Verdean World Cup here of the GKA Kite World Tour.
Matos needs a 0.9 extra. So he needs an 8.6, something like that, to get himself ahead of Cozzolino. We are not owed any waves. Everything is on the board with 14 minutes remaining. That is where we stand. We've got 3 8s on the board. We've seen 9s, though. Malo down there with a couple of the wing foiling mates. Entirely sure what's going on with... There we go. We saw him on the stream earlier on. He's decided to wake up and come down and watch for real.
I mean, if you're going to see something live and in person, it's going to be a heat like this. This location, been saying it time after time, you are standing pretty much 5 to 6 meters away from the guys performing out there on the wave. You can pretty much high-five them as they come out of the barrel. It really is the Colosseum of kite surfing, Punta Preta. If you have ever had the opportunity to come down here to the island of Sal, make sure you do. And if you haven't yet, make the opportunity, because this really is a water sports paradise. Crystal blue water, beautiful winds, great food, great culture, and just no stress and a great time. Continuing on as we are under 30 minutes, a little bit of a lull, having a little breather out there right now.
Not the opportunities for those big sets as yet. All the boys waiting for their turn on the Surf Foil World Tour. A new competition coming up, we think, tomorrow, if this swell continues. They were released for the day today, so they are not on standby. Big smiles down in the judging tower as they have themselves a little break. But just 12 more minutes of action in this first stop of the Kite-Surf World Tour. This is the final of the men's. We've crowned our champion in the women's, a new surprise champion with the first victory for Capucine de la Noire here in Cape Verde after many years of domination from Muna White. Might we see the same thing here? Might we see Pedro Matos end Airton Cozzolino's domination of this wave? At the moment, he just needs 0.9 of a score more. 8.6 would do it. And there's time for more than just one wave as well, for sure. Is it going to go down to the wire? Is it going to go down to the last couple of seconds like so much of our really good heats?
Oh, and here he is dropping in, mate. Here we go. Cozzolino. Airs it, front rolls it. Oh, going for the area maneuver just as he started out. Now that's a first.
Doesn't work out for him, though. And as we've seen from the judges, they're not so massively interested in the big freestyle tricks. It really is about pure surfing style. I think about a score we saw from Gabriel Benetton, which was a 9.2 earlier on in the competition, and it was just pure surfing, pure perfect surfing. There was, as I said at the time, no glitter, no sprinkles on the cake. It was just a Victoria sponge.
Oh, that is brilliant. Absolutely. No, that is what the judges are looking for. We've heard it from the criteria. They want to see 100% surfing. Of course, this is kite surfing. If you can add some aerial flair and if you can add some of those powers, it is only going to give you more points. But as long as you keep the flow and you keep that surfing in its purest form, that is why we have seen Airton Cozzolino here today on top of all of his heats so far, because he is just going turn for turn, rail to rail, down the line and destroying Punta Preta. Pedro Matos, also one of the most powerful surfers we have on tour. Again, coming from that pure turning background, every time hit for hit, not complicating himself, just making sure that he paints a picture and becomes a Picasso down here in Punta Preta. And looking, oh no, going against it, okay.
Thought that Pedro Matos was dropping into that one, and it does look like it's a good set rolling in, but choosing against it last minute. Trying to now get upwind of Airton Cozzolino, but he needs to be on the attack rather than the defense, because Cozzolino is still with the advantage, 0.9 of an advantage only over Pedro Matos.
And here we have, is Pedro going to be dropping in again, making his way forward. Here we go. As it is going to make it happen. Pedro trying to battle back, and now this is the one he was waiting for. This is the performance we wanted to see from him. Look at that speed going down the line. Oh, and I can hear a roar, which means Ayrton's on the one behind, but we keep it going. Pedro linking those turns together, letting that tail loose, getting pure surfing style. He has a look back as he's now going to be watching as Airton comes in, and the crowd goes wild.
So much dynamics from Airton Cozzolino. So much energy he's placing into his board, into the water. He crouches down, he punches the air. He knows that that was a good one. Wasn't it an improvement on two good ones already for Cozzolino? Surely Pedro Matos will improve that 7.7 with that run as well.
And you can hear the crowd going, wow, look at that. That is what you want to see. That is a motivated finalist. And Airton Cozzolino, we're waiting for scores to be dropped of those final waves, because Pedro Matos, a very nice wave there as well for him. As it stands, 1676 for Cozzolino. We have a 1583 for Matos. 8.10, the highest scoring wave there from him. Who is it going to be? And there is still 7 minutes of action left.
Still got to be some waves out there to play with for these two finalists. Still we wait for those points to be delivered onto our timing screen. This is what Cozzolino managed from the top. We heard the cheers. First turn in, it was a bigger wave for sure than Matos. Maybe wave selection once again going the way of Airton Cozzolino. This is a great run so far. Throws the board around at the top of the wave, then speeds his way through the foam wall. As soon as he's got an opportunity to get back on the top of the wave, he does. He just keeps that rhythm, that intensity up.
I mean, talking about rhythm, he is turning to the rhythm of the drums down here on the beach. Cozzolino knows how important this is. He wants to win in front of his home crowd, and at the moment, he is that leader. As we are just coming up with about 6 minutes to go on the clock. Cozzolino with an 833 and 843. Matos with a 773 and an 810.
Still no change on those scores from what we saw a few moments ago, and Cozzolino looks to the beach to see if he's got any scores that are updated, any interesting changes, but there are no further information. Either those waves were not scored as highly. There's a change. Matos has improved, so he's got an 810 and an 83 now. An 810 and an 830, I should say. And Airton has an 843 and an 833. Could still be owed a wave for Airton Cozzolino. Yes, there it comes. No, getting overexcited with myself.
There still is a score to come in from Airton, but at the moment, there is literally 0.36 of a point difference in between these two. Now, the game is on. It is anything but set here in between these guys, as there is definitely enough time for one more set to come in. Airton does have the upper hand. He has that 833, but Matos is right in there. One more turn, a little bit more style could make all of the difference to be crowned king here on the island of Sal. 1676 versus a 1640. It is on.
4 minutes and 50 seconds. The athletes disappear out the back. The sea goes calm. We wait for them to come back to attack, to bring that energy. The crowd will bring the energy as well. And there's the improvement from Cozzolino. An 8.83 comes in from that last run from the judges. And is that moving him out of harm's reach from Pedro Matos? Matos now needs an 8.9. He needs to go even bigger than Cozzolino to be able to beat the Italian Capverdian.
Airton is taking no prisoners. You can see just by the look in his eyes, he can see all of his family, all of his friends, all of the competitors, everybody that has come down to see who is going to take the win here in Cape Verde, and he is not going to disappoint. But Pedro Matos is very, very close now, as there is less than a point difference in between these two. But with that last 8.83, Airton going away ever so slightly. With 3.5 minutes on the clock, it is going to come down to a final set. Who will it be, Ben?
It's going to come down to a final set, but Cozzolino already at the top end of his game. We've seen him with 9s. He could be delivering a 9 in the last 3.5 minutes, but Matos has more of an opportunity to improve with his scores, with his slightly lower scores. An 8.1 and an 8.3. Cozzolino's 2 waves better, both of them, an 8.43 and an 8.83. And Cozzolino's on a wave. He's going to try and get 2 more in here. Turns his way in. Maybe not the biggest of the set. Certainly the one behind looks slightly bigger. And that will be judged as well.
Letting that tail loose. Look at that. Letting go of their hands and grabbing out. He's going to be coming off of that wave. He's going to try to go back into position. There's Pedro. Pedro is dropping in on another one as he's going to start to engage on the turn. Punta Preta showing down. Boom! From the Brazilian. Linking it up as he makes his way in and keeping it busy, letting that board loose. It is going all over the place. Out of control, control madness here. And Pedro smacking against the lip. This is the surfing we were expecting from this young man. And he is bringing it on when he needs to, because all the chips have come out on the table. And it is an all-in here from Pedro Matos, as both of the athletes are going to be going back out. 2 minutes left, ladies and gentlemen.
What does the sea have in store with 2 minutes remaining? Is there an improvement from the judges on that last run from Pedro Matos? It doesn't look dissimilar to what we've seen before from the Brazilian judges. The judges discussing that last run from the Brazilians. We've got Portuguese and French and Spanish judges. And lots of discussion. But no confirmation yet of any changes in the scores. Cozzolino, I don't think is going to improve on his score with that last wave. Pedro Matos with an opportunity potentially to score a little bit better, but he needs a lot better if he wants to take victory here in Cape Verde with just 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining. Is there anything on the horizon, or is it all over?
Oh, there is 60 seconds to find out. I can tell you there is going to be a silence before the storm. As it stands, Cozzolino is in first place. We are waiting for waves to come in, and this refresh button is being hit like no tomorrow. Who is going to take the win? There are some movement. I can see some motion in the ocean coming out the back now. Matos at 9.0. He has taken the lead.
Oh!
Matos has taken the lead. Airton has to give it all out, as this is the wave that could decide it. And look at it go. Going for the big air. Lands right on top. He does get it. As he keeps going on.
He's got to keep going on. He can't stop there. He needs a bigger score. He's 0.04 away from victory. Is Airton Cozzolino.
Oh, it is going to be close. Does Airton know Matos got that 9-0?
I don't think so. I don't think he can have known. He was too far out the back to have seen the crowd. Pedro Matos was not on a wave.
Oh, and it is going to get crazy out there. It is going to get crazy. The timer is gone. And we are going to wait to see who is the champion here in Cape Verde. Because as it stands, scores are above for Pedro Matos, but we await final confirmation. We will be right back because who knows, as we are waiting for some action to come our way. Ben, keep it going.
He doesn't need much more of an improvement on that 8.43. He doesn't need to get more than an 8.5 for that last run. Where's the graphics? Because I've got no live timing. I need to see the graphics on the screen to know who's taken victory. We wait to see an update on those scores in the top left-hand corner. The 8.43 is what we're looking at for Cozzolino. If he just goes to 8.5, then it's victory for him. There is Pedro Matos. At the moment, he has taken victory. He looks to the sky. He's taken victory in Cape Verde from a Cape Verdean. But is there an extra score from Airton Cozzolino coming in? They rush towards him. It's so tight, 0.04 points between the two. The Brazilian flag is being prepared by Tom, the tour manager here. Maybe there is no improvement on the score. The celebration certainly looks like it's for Brazil. Airton Cozzolino made every single effort to improve his score, and what a last run it was. But the flag has been handed to the Brazilian, and that means only one thing. For the first time in such a long time on the beaches of Ponta Preta, it's Brazil who has taken victory. Pedro Matos has done it. What an incredible final that was. What an incredibly tight final. Really did look as though Airton Cozzolino had the... It really looked like Airton Cozzolino had the victory in his grasp. He threw everything at it. Can you believe 0.04 of a point separating the two of them? World-class action right here on the beaches of Ponta Preta. I tell you what, the caipirinhas are going to flow tonight. This is going to be a great photo. First, third and fourth for Brazil. Benetton, Ribeiro and Matos. But it's Matos with the victory. Just 4 Brazilians on the entry list and 3 of them in the top 4. Oh, we'll be looking forward to going back to Brazil at the end of this year. Where is Cozzolino? He was so hyped about this. He felt the pressure. There's no doubt going to be disappointment, but also surely an appreciation of an absolutely epic final between the two masters of kitesurf. Trying to see where Airton is. There's Cozzolino out on the water. I'm just trying to gather his thoughts, because no doubt there is disappointment in the man. He really did give it everything. He's scored some absolutely mammoth scores across this competition. And Cozzolino will certainly be appreciated. Look at the beach, flooded with fans. Hugs all around. Somewhere down there is Joe to get the interview with our champion here on the beaches of Cape Verde. The first round of the GKA Kite World Tour, and it's gone the way of Brazil. It's gone the way of Pedro Matos. And it could not be more popular apart from those locals. Airton Cozzolino's still out on the water, still consoling himself. No doubt, disappointment. He's had it his own way so many times here in Ponte Preta. He's won so often. The expectation of the island was on his shoulders. You could see it as he prepared, and he surfed exquisitely. Really, there are no losers on this one. Just 0.4 of a point separating the two of them. He threw everything at that last wave as well, even with that big air that he landed. But judges deciding that was no better than what he had managed before. And it's going to be some party on the beach of Ponte Preta. We crowned our wingsurf champion a few days ago, both in the women's and the men's. And yesterday we handed the win to Capucine Delanois, the French lady. And now Pedro Matos joins that group of champions. Likely to have surf foil tomorrow, and likely to have 2 more champions crowned by the end of tomorrow. But what a party it's going to be. Right, let's go down to Joe. There he is with our champion.
The champion of Cape Verde, first event win of the season.
Yeah, it feels so nice to win here. Like it's a dream. For me, it's one of the hardest events of the season. So I have no words, man. Like this is pure joy. Like I just want to thank God, thank my family, thank my team, thank you, thank GKA. Like I'm just so happy right now. I'm over the moon.
I could see a person who was over the moon as your dad was on there on the call. Pedro, you left it to the final moments. A 9.0 is what made a 0.04 difference in between you and Airton. It was all against both of you, and it came down to that final wave. How did you make that happen?
It's so emotional. I've been training a lot for that, and I know like when you go against the big guys, it's always gonna be tight. And yeah, just thank the judge and thank for giving me that score, and thanks God. And yeah, man, it's really emotional, like for real. Like this is so important for me.
Well, congratulations. You are the king here in Ponte Preta. And that is it for a beautiful event of the GKA Kite-Surf World Cup Cape Verde. I'm going to send it back to the booth with Brazil is on top and number 1.
It's Brazil who will raise their flag aloft as champions here in Cape Verde on Ponte Preta. This legendary break has given us legendary action all the way through today. And what a final to finish it off. After years of domination from Cape Verdean athletes on their own break, it's been broken by Pedro Matos of Brazil. What a day. See you tomorrow.
fear. It whispers when you hesitate. It lingers in the unknown. It tells you to turn back. But fear is not the enemy. Fear is the threshold between the ordinary and the unstoppable. You don't conquer fear by avoiding it. You conquer it by riding straight through. Because beyond fear is freedom. Trade fearlessly at capital.com.
Are we never satisfied? Are we obsessive? Is it never enough? Do we dream further? Maybe. But every gust, every wave, every effort, that's what drives us. It's our journey. We won't stop. This is Duotone.
Vou contar-vos uma história. Era uma vez um arquipélago no meio do Atlântico, onde a natureza se demorou em atos de generosidade. Cabo Verde, terra onde nos temos de demorar, onde cada viagem é mais importante que o destino final, onde as experiências nos surpreendem a cada momento. Um país que fica para sempre no nosso coração. Cabo Verde, do coração.
Investir em energia solar. Go Green Go Sal Village. A energia solar com baterias permite-lhe uma poupança de 80% na sua fatura energética. Tempo de retorno do seu investimento é de 3 a 4 anos. Quer esteja a tentar poupar nos custos dos serviços públicos da sua empresa ou esteja interessado para instalações de painéis solares e baterias em todo o território de Cabo Verde. Visite o nosso showroom e armazém para orientação pessoal em Santa Maria, Sal, Cabo Verde. Go Green Go Sal Village.
Bolsa Atleta.
Através do Bolsa Atleta, consegui que a sapatilha bicos, agora todo atleta a nível mundial tenta usar em competições internacionais, quase ao pé de igualdade daqueles atletas de alto rendimento.
Depois que conseguir bolsa, não para simplesmente de preocupar com a questão financeira e começa a dedicar muito mais a treinos e minha preocupação fica competição, treinos e desenvolvimento pessoal. Então aquele bolsa ali tem uma importância imensa para mim.
Eu passo de dificuldade para morrer, me derrubar arriba, nunca tenho um trabalho fixo, minha trabalho um dia sim, um dia não. Às vezes aqui pode ser para o chão, quando é bem. Depois que ganha aquele bolsa e a coisa está me evoluindo, é um pouco mais de brilho, energia no treino, é ter mais foco.
É tão importante porque entender que as muitas condições financeiras é que gostar mesmo de correr. E é um exemplo disso. E tem que mostrar aos jovens que conseguir realizar esses sonhos realidade.
Candidatos em idj.cv até 20 de janeiro.